Well, good morning. I am here today to do an overview on a mold protocol report, especially because we've been running into some difficulties with clearance reports, clearance inspections, protocol not being followed. So I just wanted to have a conversation about it today. And so I'm going to be sharing some pages of this mold protocol report. And the first thing I'm going to draw your attention to is after all the testing, the first few, like 3 pages or so, where the testing and the observations are, there is a section where it says, it's below the, right below where the sampling is done. It's the next page. And it says, to help understand the mold levels that we're seeking for the clearance when we're the post-remediation guidelines. We've got these listed right here for you. So got the total spore count we're looking for, and with no elevated, no Stachybotrys, Chaetomium, Remediator, Fusarium, Trichoderma. Those are the water damage building molds, so we don't want any of those in the clearance. A debris rating of 3 or lower is really critical also. And if you have no dust or debris, see number 11, no dust or debris on any surface, that's a huge problem. If I had to clear a property and go by every single one of these strictly, there's a lot of dust. I'm seeing a lot of dust, but we really don't want the dust or debris because that looks like, because that makes it look like no cleaning was done, no HEPA vacuuming was done, or no wipe down was done at the end. So it's really, really, really important that all those items are looked at, and that's the reason for having it listed there, and so that you know what to expect, and you know what's required of you. And then you go to the actual site protocol, and on the specific site protocol, it'll have your containment, tell you which areas need to be contained. So in this particular circumstance, we had some Chaetomium mold spores were found in the kitchen, and so there had been a leak not too far from the kitchen. So this is underlined and bolded for a reason. Kitchen and base cabinet to explore for damage from water backing up to locate the source of the Chaetomium. In this case, we couldn't see the mold, but the mold got picked up in the air sample, so it's someplace in the room, and the most likely location for that was behind the cabinets. So the next item on the report is, it tells you where to put HEPA air scrubbers and dehumidifiers. It's pretty straightforward. And number 3, if it is in this location, number 3 isn't always the same. It depends. So in this one, we're saying a licensed HVAC contractor must first determine if the system can be cleaned. So that is where Remediator needs to get with the HVAC contractor, check the system, or systems, depending on how big the project is. And you got to determine that before you even write an estimate, because you don't know if it can be cleaned or not. And there's a big difference between cleaning and replacement. So that's the reason for that. So then we see seal HVAC openings in all contained rooms prior to demolition or cleaning. That's every job, basically, where you have a containment. You've got to seal those off. So now the removal of the materials. In this particular case, it was to be determined after the exploratory kitchen base is done, because we don't know exactly the extent of that. And that's the only thing that needed to be dismantled in this project. So now, in other reports, you're going to see very specific. So wherever a containment was, you're going to see remove the drywall wall 2 feet from the floor, and it'll be explanatory as to what area of the room, how far you have to go, and then just expect to do that. And then if there's a note in there that says inspect behind, you always have to inspect behind, because we cannot see hidden mold. As a remediator, as you're pulling materials out, you're going to see it. And if you see it, it's got to go. And if there's any questions, you call the assessor. So anyway, the contents will be mentioned here. The cleaning, so in this particular case, it's to clean all surfaces inside the containment. What does a cleaning mean? HEPA vacuum, and then wipe down with an antimicrobial that's registered with the EPA for the removal of mold from porous and non-porous materials. Then perform another HEPA vacuum as the last action before the clearance inspection. So there should be no debris or dust. It should be all clean. That was for the foundation. Now, that was for the foundation crawl space there with description. The next thing is a general comment. Wall or ceiling cavities. Once thoroughly cleaned with antimicrobial, apply a generous coating of clear Fiberlock 6100. We use 6100 all the time because it's a really good product. If there's equally good product, we're open to that, but the clear seal must be put on, not a painted seal, a clear seal, so when we inspect it, we can see what's going on, how good it got cleaned, how well it got cleaned. So a lot of times you're going to have some visible mold on, for instance, a framing board inside a wall cavity. And sometimes it needs to be lightly sanded, wet sanded usually, if that is the case, or it's super cleaned. And then when you seal it with a clear product like Fiberlock 6100, that will actually encapsulate the wood so that the mold would not be harmful. That little bit that's left there that you can't scrub off. And so that's what that's for. Now, I want to point your direct your attention to this. I have these nevers and always in every report. Never cover the wall framing with plastic. The assessor must see all wall cavities on post-inspection. I've been to projects before. Many times it became a real habit of people to seal off all the walls that they just got done cleaning, the cavities. We need to see those cavities. They need to be exposed so we can test and we can see if there's still mold present. Now, if you look over here, always remove damaged building materials 2 feet beyond any visible mold. So always call the assessor if additional damage is discovered so the protocol can be expanded. It's a really easy step. Pick up the phone and call. Never overlook potential hidden damage. That is mold inherently has hidden damage, especially around bathtubs, air conditioners, water heaters, other plumbing or supply or drain lines. Previously leaking windows and doors, it could cause failure of your post-remediation testing and inspection, and then additional fees. And so never install new building materials until the clearance inspection and written confirmation are received that the project may go forward. And now this is in it. This next 2 pages in every single report. It's general mold remediation comments and guidelines. That's required on every job. Hire a state licensed mold remediator if you're in Florida per the Florida statutes. They require it. Just the PPE, how you bag things, using dehumidification equipment, containment, no cavities to, if you have a ceiling or wall cavity that's exposed to the outside air or the attic, that should be sealed off with a clear plastic, because we need to maintain indoor control of humidity and the mold spores. And there's the target guidelines again. It's all pretty clear. If you scroll down further in the report, we've made these forms up specifically for the technicians, for the site people, to a pre-remediation remediator checklist. Attachment 1. It talks about discussing with the client the containment practices and the cost of breaching that containment. That happens all the time. It shouldn't. Anyway, everything. The HVAC contractor out there to make sure to see if their ducts are cleanable or not, or they're going to have to be replaced. That should be done right at the get-go. You prepare for demolition, sealing. This is a checklist so that you can just go through every item and not miss anything. And here's a post-remediator checklist, attachment 2. And with just some notes and reminders that all moldy sheet mat removed 2 feet beyond visible mold. You got to go through this list and make sure this is all says yes. All cavities inspected confirm no mold on surfaces previously inaccessible. No dust or debris present on surfaces. Containment barriers sealed. That's a big problem with having had no breaches. No fogging of the space on the day of the clearance inspection. You cannot use that fogging as a way to remediate. Humidity maintained at 50% or less. HEPA air scrubbers are allowed to operate 24 to 48 hours after the last cleaning item. And here's in capital letters: technicians and supervisor walk every area and verify that the project is ready for inspection. Refer to the written protocol and contact the assessor with any questions or guidance. They could submit this, as the idea about this was to sign and submit it for the post-inspection appointment. The whole reason that we made that form was because we were showing up at projects and there was mold on sheetrock. There should not be mold on sheetrock. That should be removed. There's areas where containment, wasn't contained. So I want the technician, the supervisor, to look over the protocol thoroughly. If they have questions, call, text, email, send pictures, whatever it is, however way you want to communicate. We're here to help you. We don't want to fail your clearance. We want you to pass the first time, every time. And we'll try to help you do that. So please let us know, job per job. We'll be glad to help you. Got to read all the pages. Look at all the pictures. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful day. Cindy Eric signing off.